Good evening. Whoops. No, unmute. There we go. Good evening and welcome. My name is, of course, Hemingway Jones, and this is the live Hemingway Jones Fountain Pen Show. I'm trying a new microphone this evening, so let me know if the audio is bad. If it's good, don't bother. But if it's bad, let me know. I'm using the mic that I usually use when I record my regular videos, so didn't set up the elaborate mic tonight because I was running out of time before the show started. The funny thing is sometimes putting my daughter to bed, looking at the watch, realizing that it's time and quickly setting up for the live show. You'd think I had a studio, but this is just my office. And so here we are in our little corner of the internet where we talk about fountain pens, inks, journals, and journaling. Just about everything and anything to keep you inspired. It's the point of the whole channel. Inspiration, creativity, striving to be better people, to be more expressive, to write more and use these amazing fountain pens even more often. So before I go much further, no, you know what? I'm going to tell you what we're going to do tonight, and then we're going to do something else. So I just want to give you an idea of what's going on this evening. I'm going to talk about gold nibs and whether or not they're really worth it and some of the bargains out there. There's 3 strong under $300 gold nibs to consider. So we're going to quickly touch on those and talk about the eternal debate, steel versus gold. Is gold worth it? And when it is, there are some great alternatives. So we'll talk about those. That's a big part of the show. Something else we're going to talk about is some dad jokes. I've been writing some dad jokes. I am a dad, so it is my right to write some dad jokes. Now, my dad jokes are not told to my daughter. They're told to my wife. And she rolls her eyes, and some of them she made me swear I would not share with you. But I thought I'd lighten up the mood a bit and read you some of my dad jokes. Tell you. So that should be amusing, hopefully. Thanks for all the likes, guys. I see the little thumbs going up. That keeps YouTube happy, keeps the YouTube algorithm well fed. It's a monster that feeds on interaction. So thanks for all the likes. It's a huge help. And all of your support is always welcome on the channel. So thank you very much. So I also have a special guest this evening. One of the Illuminati. We have membership tiers. The Illuminati are the highest tier. We have Kurt Geisinger, author and a valued member of this channel, who will be at the end of the show. And I'm sure he's got a lot of interesting stuff to share with us. Very lovely fellow. So it should be an interesting interview between him and me. I'm going to grill him like Mike Wallace. No, I'm not. I'm just going to welcome on the show, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I want to say special hello to Judy Anderson. Judy, I hope you're feeling better. Hang in there. We're all thinking about you. And I want to update the community on someone else. The mighty Wolverine, who I spoke with today for some time. He's still having some issues where he can't join us live, but he is doing much better and he's hanging in. And we had a very nice conversation, Wolverine and I. So he says hello to everyone. So how about some likes for Wolverine? That would be lovely too. So I noticed that you guys liked the Lamy 2000 review that I did. I was hoping you would enjoy that. My 2 most popular videos lately are the Lamy 2000 review and the Esterbrook SD Raven review, which was a lot of fun because I pulled that together in like 2 days. I got the pen about a week before. I needed a few days to work with it, and then I wrote the review. It was super fun, and I was really happy with how it came out. So that is pretty exciting for me. I'm happy you guys were so receptive. I saw quite a few of you bought the pen, which is also nice. It's fun to share it. I kind of wish I had the piston fill, but I'm hoping the next round, the next pen that comes out, they'll share the piston fill with me. That would be nice. And then the Lamy 2000, which was courtesy of Brendan Schmidt of Atlas Stationers, the mighty Brendan, who we all know and love. He sent that when I ordered a pen I've been using quite a bit. My pen check pen today is the Aurora Optima, the O Solo Mio. A very interesting pen. I can't wait for you guys to hear my wife's comments on this pen. She talks at length about this on Cool or Not Cool Part 2, which remember when I put up the preview and we were talking and I was saying Cool or Not Cool Part 2 is coming up. And you were all saying, it's too long. I can't wait that long. You remember that? I remember that. And you remember what I said? I said it'll be here before you know it. And you know what? It's coming up next week. How about that? Isn't that amazing? Cool or Not Cool Part 2 next Thursday. I didn't think we could do it again, my wife and me. I thought maybe it was sort of a first time thing and all the charm would be in the first time. But you know what? I'm really proud of this. I think it's better than the first one. And that's kind of what I'm curious to find out. So when you watch it next Thursday, let me know if you think it's better than the first part. Okay? And this week, video is on the Conway Stewart King Charles III pen. So that should be fun too. But I think you guys will really love Cool or Not Cool Part 2. So here's something very special I want to do. So I hope you're all paying attention. Is everybody paying attention? Everybody right here? We have a connection right now. Let's talk about something, okay? Oh, you know what? And I have to interrupt myself because the mighty Laddie has sent a super chat for $25. Laddie, thank you so much. I appreciate the super chats. I appreciate all the support. It helps keep the lights on in the channel. It helps to keep the channel funded. We're trying to keep it as an independent enterprise that can pay its own bills. And Laddie is a huge supporter of that. Every week, Laddie kicks in, which is awesome. I feel like I'm doing a telethon. But I really do appreciate it, Laddie. Thank you so much. You're already an Illuminati member and you kick in every week. You're just a fantastic support for the channel. So thank you all for all your super chats, all the likes, and thank you, Laddie, in particular. He and I, we talk quite a bit. We definitely have a bromance, Laddie and I, in the best way. So I want to talk about another channel member, but I can't refer to them by name because they have sent this in. You guys know what this is, right? So this, of course, is a Hobonichi Techno in English, cousin edition. So it's a page-a-day journal. It's a Techno one. Looks like it costs $60 as a, well, down here. Which hand is that? That's this hand. Reverse camera throws me off every time. $60 price tag on there. I'm curious where they bought it from, but I can't tell. But hopefully it was our friends at Atlas Stationers or one of our other friends of the channel. But very nice, beautiful book. I almost want to keep it. It was very nice of them to donate to the channel. And I think the best thing to do is to do a giveaway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this to one of the members of the channel. And if you've been on the fence thinking maybe I'll become a member, maybe I'm interested in the letter exchange, maybe I'm interested in the pen pal group or some of the blooper reels behind the scenes, maybe you've been thinking about it. Like, I'd love to support the channel. I enjoy this content. I want to keep it on the YouTube air because YouTube doesn't help. It's all us, you know. If it was up to YouTube, I probably wouldn't be as motivated as I am now. You guys keep me motivated. So I want to do this giveaway for the members, just for all that you guys do. And the person who donated this was so generous and so lovely, and they've been a great support of the channel. So we're going to do this, okay? So you can become a member and you'd be eligible. And what I'd like you guys to do, if you'd like to win this, and I'll also put a post up in the membership area very soon, just send me an email at hemingwayjones@icloud.com. Why I should give it to you. That's it. How easy is that? And just you have to be a member of the channel, any tier, and you're eligible. But whomever sends me the most compelling email, I'll give this to. And I am the arbiter. I'm the final say. So I'll be fair. You guys know me. And I think I'll do it. I won't prolong it, but I want to give people a chance to join. So let's do it. Let's do it next Friday. So the day after Cool or Not Cool Part 2 comes out. So I believe that's November 3rd. Let me look at the calendar to make sure I know what I'm talking about. Because you guys know me. It wouldn't be beyond me to forget which day is what. November 3rd, I was correct. All right, so on November 3rd, I will pick from all the emails that I have the most compelling. And they will win this lovely journal. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think? I think that's fun, eh? Okay, so that's the giveaway. And then we're going to talk about gold nibs shortly, which is my favorite topic. But I think it's time for dad jokes. What do you think? You guys ready for dad jokes? Let me know in the comments if you're ready for dad jokes. Try not to hold this against me. Oh, and let me say one more time. You can become a new member and be eligible for this. Just by next November 3rd, you have to be a member and write a decent email that compels me to give it to you. And then I'll mail it to you. And I'll write a letter with it. A nice little note with one of my favorite pens. What do you guys think of that? Okay, dad jokes. All right, there's not many, so get ready to groan, okay? All right. Oh, why am I doing this? All right, let me get into character. Okay. So, when you go to the hospital, why do they call them IVs? Why don't they just call them 4s? I should have a laugh track. So what did Attila the Hun's wife call him? Just Hun. Maybe you could like laugh by liking so I don't feel like I'm in a vacuum here of really bad comedy. What do you call a T-Rex that sits on a nail? A Tyrannosaurus. Okay. Come on, I wrote these. James Fahey with the super chat. Thank you so much for the support, my friend. I'm going to take that as a support for dad jokes. So thank you very much. And James Fahey has a Mont Blanc 149 that he has saved for and is now on its way to him. So, okay. Back to dad jokes. Thank you, James. You're the best, man. Appreciate it. Why are all Egyptian coffins male? Because they're sarcophagi. Yeah. Okay. I hope there's a good one in here because we're almost done. And there's a few she wouldn't let me tell you. So, why can't you hear Ptolemy go to the bathroom? Because his pee is silent. Yeah. Yeah. I kind of like that one, though. All right, can't laugh at my own jokes, but that's it. That's all I got. So that's the dad joke interlude. There we go. Kaylee says, HJ, we love you, but don't quit your day job. Well, at least I write my own dad jokes, you know? I didn't just buy a book. But maybe I should have bought a book. Alas, those are my dad jokes. I'm still working. Some of them are like half formed or not that great. Like, there's another one there I didn't read to you that's like, what do you call a communist seagull? A left turn? Yeah, I don't know. It's not that funny. All right, any of them funny? Oh, Allie J likes my Ptolemy joke. Thank you, Allie J. Allie J's awesome. Okay, so let's get into the main topic. We talked about the giveaway. We talked about a lot of things. Let's talk about the main topic. So this is that perennial concept, right? And it comes up in all my videos. It comes up in the comment sections constantly. And there really is no answer for this. And that's what's so brilliant about it. It comes to value proposition, right? So value propositions are an interesting thing because I can make a compelling case why you need a Mont Blanc 149 and why that $1,100 or whatever it is right now, $1,050 or so, is worth it. I can compare it to other pens. We can have that conversation. There's other pens in that tier, say like a Visconti, some of the Homo sapiens are that much. At least full retail they are. So you can rationalize. I think a lot of these value propositions are really rationalizations. Okay? That's a fact. And I'm the king of rationalization. I'm buying stuff all the time and rationalizing it. Why I need it and all that. Though I tend to buy things that are going to last. Now, one thing about fountain pen nibs of any type, if taken care of, if cherished, if used wisely and well, they'll last you for the rest of your life. I have very many ancient fountain pens. My oldest is a Watchman 52.5 that Ben Joe Markland just fixed for me. He swapped out the sack for me, which is very nice, and it's writing brilliantly again. That has a gold nib. It's very flexible. It's really interesting. Sometimes I use it as a dip pen, by the way. I kind of enjoy that. Sometimes I fill it and use it as a dip pen just because I'm weird that way and I like it nice and wet while I write. Many of you will get letters from me written in the 52.5 and you'll be able to tell, believe me. It goes from wispy to triple broad at a whim. So very easy to do, lovely pen, lovely to use. So gold nibs in vintage pens are a whole nother thing. Because to be honest, you could go that route if you wanted any gold nib. You go vintage for the old ideal number 2 nibs that are just brilliant. You could even go fairly recent pens like a 15 or 20-year-old Schaefer Legacy with an inlaid diamond shape nib with a little bit of bounce, very wet and gold. Brilliant. You probably pick one of those up used for, $250 or so. But here's the thing. I think as you spend money, you get to a point where you expect more than just a steel nib. And I say just very loosely because some of my favorite nibs are steel. And even some Yovo nibs, which are tweaked or custom made for another company to different specs or what have you, they are great nibs. Steel nibs are fantastic. But what gold does is gold affords you a little bit of weird, a little bit of flexibility, of certainly of brilliance and decorative opportunities. It's slightly easier to embellish in a beautiful way. There's some beautiful steel nibs out there though too. By the way, have you ever seen the ones that are hand done in India? Oh my gosh, those are incredible. So there are some incredible. But gold has a quality that you can kind of express a bit of weirdness. So when you start to get over $300, and when you're in that sort of range, you have to say, okay, I'm putting out $350. At that point, do I expect a gold nib? Do I expect an in-house nib? Some brands are now offering in-house gold nibs in that $300, $350 range. So now if you're going to look at something in a steel nib, there has to be something compelling there, some other value proposition, like incredible materials that the pen's made out of, or some kind of limited edition. Something like that would motivate you, right? Otherwise, you could get in-house gold nib on something like an Omas. Auroras aren't too much more than that. There's I only have a lower tier pen from this company, but I am so fascinated by Magna Carta, which is a pen company out of India. Always been super impressed with anything I get from India in regards to fountain pens. They're brilliant. Just the inks are great, the paper's great, fountain pens are great. I have a Ranga, Fountain Pen Revolution. I have the Magna Carta. Forget the name of it. It looks like a cathedral. It's transparent, it's quite girthy, but really interesting pen. Well, they have a flex nib now in gold that is reminiscent of a vintage gold nib. I don't have it. I haven't used it. I'd like to. I'd like to get my hands on it. I may go mad and just buy it at some point. So I really like that. I like what you can do with gold. What I don't like is making gold a fetish, as if gold unto itself has value. It does, it's gold. But that it's like better by the nature of the fact that it's gold in the specific use as a fountain pen nib. Because that's not necessarily the case. Because, as I said before, some steel nibs are absolutely brilliant. I mean, Pelican M200s, M205s, steel nibs, you'd never know it. You think you're writing with a gold nib, and you're not. But gold gives you the ability to be a little weird, and I like that. I like a little weird. And I'm going to give you some examples now. Is it the cheapest production gold nib? I think it is, but I'm not positive, but it's certainly the one that springs to mind. The Pilot E95S. I still think it is an extremely underrated fountain pen. I really do. But it has a gold nib. It retails around $135 or so. I'm sure you can get it for $90, $100, $110. It has a bouncy gold nib. In the EF, you can even get a little line variation if you put a little pressure on it. I don't write with pressure, so that's a bit lost on me, unless it's an ideal number 2 or a pen specifically made like a Mont Blanc calligraphy nib for pressure. I just don't feel right. But I'm told you can. So it's interesting. It's very aquiline. It's very long. It's got a bit of a hook to it. It's a really intriguing, interesting writing experience. It's very elegant. My wife definitely was very critical on Cool or Not Cool Part 1, saying that it was like an old lady's pen. I can see her point, but I still love it. I'm comfortable with old ladies' pens, evidently. But so you can get that for around $100. That's your entry into a gold nib. Now, when you have that, then you start to ask yourself, do you need another steel nib? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. So you go a little bit more expensive. Pilot seems to own the affordable gold nibs. Another one is the Vanishing Point, which is around, what are they, around $160, $170, worth every penny. Most recent one I have is a matte black one that Brendan Schmidt sent me from Atlas Stationers. my buddy, a while ago, over a year ago, for TikTok. And it's one of my favorite writers. It's like my museum jotter. I love to have it in my breast pocket when I go somewhere and just pull it out, jot some quick notes. It's kind of a fun fiddly pen. You can make a lot of noise with it, which I really like as well. So that is all good. All good. For under $200. So then you have to compare it to some other pens that don't have that. Now, the positive vanishing point, of course, vanishes, but you probably could make that nib out of steel. But it does have a bit of bounce, which is a really, really nice feature on it. And it's very smooth and it's very wet. So, very, very nice pen. So one that's often looked over, and sort of the whole reason I decided to do this topic, is the, I always mess up the name, that's why I'm laughing. The Waterman Quran. I'm pretty sure that's right. I always want to call it the Karen. I used to call it the Karine, but I believe it's Quran. My wife speaks French, and she tells me it, and it goes. You guys know my pronunciation's idiosyncratic to begin with. So we're going with Quran tonight, and I see that the amber model, which I have, although mine is quite old. Mine's almost 20 years old, but I'm assuming they're made the same way. I haven't got my hands on a modern Waterman. I know they're still made in Paris, as mine was made in Paris. So I'm assuming they're still the same. $260, $270 for a Quran. That's a very elegant, very expressive, very wet, very beautiful pen. And let me tell you a story about my Quran, which I may have mentioned before. I was once talking to someone and had it in my hand, and I rotated too quickly and jammed the nib into a door frame. And it went all askew, and it's not a nib that you can really fix yourself. It's inlaid. It's really, really beautiful. So I, of course, was devastated, very upset, wondering what I could do. And I sent it back to Waterman and asked if they would fix it. And I left all my information and asked them to contact me and, exchange credit card and all that. So I waited a while and I don't hear anything back from them. And I'm getting to the point where I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe I'll call them. This was in the early days. This was before you had that sense that if you don't hear from someone in 3 days, you call them, right? This was in the late, I'd say like the middle, like 2006 or so, right? So the internet was there, it had been there, but you didn't have really immediate satisfaction yet. So I was about to call, and what happens? It shows up in the mail, fixed, which is a little note, thank you for using Waterman, what have you. Perfect. I don't know if they fixed it or they just sent me a brand new pen or a brand new section or what they did. But it was brilliant and so lovely of them. And it made that pen even more special to me. So absolutely amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So that is a really nice, expressive, interesting inlaid nib that you can get for under $300. So I personally, I weigh all this stuff when I go to buy a new pen. There are some stunners out there I have to have. I have to have. In fact, there's a video coming up in a few weeks. I don't know when. And it's called, Do You Really Need Another Yovo Nib? And it goes through, JoWo nibs, and we talk about value through the lens of William Morris, one of my favorite Victorian writers. And you know me and how I do my videos. It's a little different than what other folks do. So I end up reviewing the Retro 51 Tornado fountain pen, plus talk about the history of William Morris, plus talk about whether or not you need another JoWo nib. All through this lens of value propositions and how we weigh these things. So for me, it's unique each time. Every time I go and I look at buying a new pen, I ask myself, how does it fit into my collection now? You know, like I see these classic pens coming out from Pelikan in classic colors, in M600s, M800s. They're coming out in the market. I know Pelikan was just recently sold. This might be them purging their stock before whatever happens next for them. I'm really interested in those. That's a whole different value proposition to me. So, you know, I'm going to put this up. Laddie was talking about, he bought a Mont Blanc calligraphy nib and had a bit of problem with it. Laddie, you're so brave. He didn't like the way the nib was. He tuned it up himself. It didn't go well. And the Boston one, which is the one I would go to, I've been there a few times, they facilitated a new nib for him. There was a cost involved, but he ended up being made whole, which is pretty wonderful. Pretty wonderful. So yeah, that can happen. By the way, here's a story about my Mont Blanc calligraphy nib I may not have shared with you guys. I was filming with it the first time, one of the early videos, and I had it on a turntable, and it fell off, and it went nib down on my porch into the linoleum and quivered like an arrow shot into a target. And I just kind of looked at it and I was like, oh no, that nib is toast, because they are very soft nibs, very soft. And I pulled it out and I looked at it and I was like, it looks fine. And then I put my loop on it and it was fine. And then I hesitantly went to write with it, and of course it didn't write because all the ink was in the floor, you know, the ink that had been ready to write, right? But then I wrote for a second longer and it started writing, and I've been using it ever since. So I'm not saying that you can throw your Mont Blanc calligraphy nib into a wooden floor with linoleum on the top of it. Maybe, but you possibly could, if you're lucky like me. So that would have been devastating, but it worked out. It worked out for me. So those are my words on gold nibs, guys. I think that there are some brilliant gold nibs out there. And I think gold gives you some flexibility, some latitude to be weird and interesting. The quill nib on the Piniter is awesome. The nib on the Egyptomania, you guys know, soft and interesting. The calligraphy nib, all gold nibs. Vintage gold nibs, fantastic avenue to try new things. Even just secondhand gold nibs. Schaefer's. You know, get those Schaefer's from 2007. They're awesome. When they were made in the U.S., they were awesome. I don't know what they're like now. I just haven't tried one. So I'm not saying that they're bad. I just don't know. I just don't have one. And I never talk about things I don't have. I mean, I talk about them, but I don't give reviews of things I don't have. So I would definitely put on my list, though, a Quran for $260, $270. That is a lot of pen. A lot of pen. The Vanishing Point, brilliant. And that E95S, I love that thing. I'm talking about it now, and I want to bring it out. What I have been using is my Aurora Optima. And I was going to do a pen check earlier, but I might mention a few things. Then I'm going to make some channel notes, and then, we're going to invite Kurt in soon. So I'm going to do a review of this shortly. I've been using this quite a bit. I kind of have two Italians going lately. It's the Aurora Optima and the Omas Ogiva. And this Optima, I had problems with it when it arrived. And I bought it from Atlas Stationers. This was the pen I bought that Brendan put in the Lamy 2000. By the way, the Lamy 2000 is another gold nib that's, it's interesting looking, but I find it slightly unremarkable in what it does. But it's still a gold nib pen for $2 and change. But this pen, the tines were too close together when I got it. And I looked on my loop and I saw it, and I considered sending it to a nib master. But look, I'm going to tie all the stories together. Watch me as I do this, okay? I considered sending it to a nib meister, but Laddie, he just inspired me with his craziness, with his Montblanc 146. I was inspired to fix this myself. I knew what it needed. I could see it. There was no space whatsoever between the tines. They were so tight. There was no ink getting out of it at all. So one of the things you can do is you can gently press it against the back of your fingernail, and there's how-to videos for that. I don't recommend it, but you can. I went a more expedient route, and I just jammed it into my fingernail and basically used my thumbnail as nib floss. And it took 2 times of doing that, and now it's brilliant. Now it's one of my favorite pens ever. It is so wet and inky and smooth, but I'm kind of angry that I had to go through that. Now, I could have sent it back to Brendan. I could have, exercised a guarantee or whatever, all that, but sometimes you just don't want to deal with that. Sometimes you just want to take matters into your own hands and go a little mad. And that's what I did. So I'm going to eventually, probably next year, because this year's already filmed. We're filmed up through the middle of December. The whole fall schedule is already filmed. I have videos every week, I think, till the 14th of December, ready to go. And then December, by the way, is more like I'll do lives, I'll do other things, because no one's around until after New Year's. Then people start to come back. So I'll probably do it next year, but it's going to be another narrative. It's going to be about how you and a pen can kind of win each other over. And this pen certainly has. But it was a struggle out of the gate. Now I love it. And I can't wait for you guys to hear what my wife has to say about it too. Because it is a little strange and interesting. So, excuse me. You guys know how my voice gets. So, another thing I want to mention is I just finished a 5-episode run over on Yost's channel, over at Apple Boom Bites, his podcast, and I did my top 3 pens he put up. So catch that. Give Yost some love over on his channel. And that was super fun. I love being a co-host. Can you guys believe I actually dialed it down? And I wasn't full-on obnoxious me for an hour. It's true. I did. I tried to. Hopefully I did a good job for him. It's he gets great guests. I got to meet some really, really interesting people. Wait until you see this week's. It's awesome. That should be out very, very soon. So I'm really excited about that too. That was a lot of fun. I'm all over the internet. I'm trying to be. It's always fun to be a guest on someone else's channel.